Okay, we're back here. We are live at the Florida EAP conference in Melbourne and having a great time for the last couple of days. And we're here with, thank goodness, one of my friends. The moment I saw you when I walked in, I was like, yay, she's here. This is Debbie Strand from Choices Sober Houses, West Palm Beach. Debbie, how are you?
I'm fabulous. I'm so happy to be here. I've tried to come to this conference for a couple of years, but this is the first time I've actually made it. And I'm
You had
so
to
glad to
pick the one
participate.
year when it was the hardest to come to a conference to actually show up, right?
Yeah, it was the year that actually worked out for me.
It's been such a stressful year, and I know that in this year you've also really started to push with Choices Sober Houses. We were out, I believe it was at the beginning of this year at one of your open houses.
September last year in 2019, we opened up our first property
Okay,
in West Palm. So shortly after that, we had the grand opening where you
I
all came
remember
out,
that.
and
Yeah.
then in the height of the pandemic in June, we started to expand. We got some of our PPP funds, and the grant that we got, we reinvested it right back into the women. I wanted to pay off some bills and do some things for myself. I thought would be really nifty, but God always tells me to do the right thing, and helping the women out in this very stressful time was absolutely what we needed to do.
And I'm glad you say that. Choices Sober Houses is for women.
All women. We have 37 beds. It's two different properties. Scott, you've been there. It's two houses on a shared pool deck, and I have two properties like that, and then there's a couple of suites attached, private suites.
Okay. Now, prior to you opening this, and it's probably even still today, there seems to be a limited number of good housing for women.
There is
Is that kind of what prompted you to make sure that you did this?
well, I was working in marketing and outreach for a treatment center. Actually, it was all male. And then simultaneously, I was running a female property for somebody else, and it was 16 beds. And I was able to keep that full at all times. And we always had a waiting list, and I had to send people other places. And then they would call and always want to come back to where I was, or even if they left, they always wanted to come back to where I was. And that started to clue me off that there really wasn't a lot of great options out there. With the properties, the way that they're set up, we're able to accommodate, like my one house has like 50 and older women, and then another house has the girls that are a bit younger and kind of flock together. I have another house that accommodates the more affluent. But during the 3 years that I ran a property for somebody else, I started to see the holes in sober living and the more support that women needed. Like I had a friend that's a LCSW, licensed clinical social worker, and I was referring to him all the time, and he couldn't treat everybody, and not everybody could afford to go to treatment. He's treated several for free, but they couldn't keep up with it. So we partnered and opened up this property. So one of the things that we do that's different from other houses is we have a legitimate relapse prevention group with a licensed clinician every week, and it makes a difference. So if they go through that traditional track of inpatient and then intensive outpatient, it's not such a giant step down to sober living where they have none of that programming. We're at least giving them some, and other
Yeah.
things that we do too.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I mean, let's go straight at it. A lot of sober living has gotten a bad rap because there have been a lot of people that say, hey, you know what? I'm in recovery. I'm just going to open a house and I'm just going to throw a bunch of people in there and I'm going to collect rent, and it turns into a very bad situation, and it has given a black eye to the industry. Is the truth. So what is it that you saw as really those real danger areas, and how have you avoided those?
Well, one of the other things that I saw was not so much what your go-to thought may be. Clients would overuse medication, but I saw more people underusing or not using properly the psych meds that they were given. A lot of times when clients are discharged to us, they have their bag of meds that they had when they went into detox.
Right.
They have a bag of meds from detox, and then they have a bag of meds from their treatment center that they were in PHP and IOP, and they dump them out in front of us, and there's this huge pile of pill bottles, and you could see the stress in the client. And I tell them, hold on, just relax. We'll figure this out. And we get it all organized, put it into a nice med box. We give them a pill box for the week, let them organize their meds, and daily we allow them to come in and have access to their medication. So a client that's on a little Wellbutrin and a Seroquel at night, they'll fill up their pill box for the week. Somebody who's taking gabapentin, they have to come in every other day because it's a highly misused medication.
Absolutely.
And then we do allow the Suboxone, the maintenance, medically assisted treatment, not maintenance, medically assisted treatment. And we have certain standards for that too. But they're only allowed to access that once a day. Now that also protects the client from, if someone was to steal their medication, they don't take that bad of a hit. If somebody takes it or they overtake it, they're not going to hurt themselves too badly. So we protected ourselves and the clients a lot of ways like that. But I have seen a lot more success with people now being organized and assisted and helped to develop good habits with the medications. Psych meds are designed to help them think better and process better. And when they take them as they're directed to take, those meds work. So we help to keep them compliant with that. And then once they start being able to think well on their own, then they develop good habits and continue with those medications. So that's another big way that we've been able to make a difference.
So you and I were talking before we went on air here, and kind of laughing about it, but you've had the ability just recently in your career to focus solely on this. I'm sure we all have those moments where we're like, what the hell was I thinking? I'm sure we all have those moments.
Yeah, I definitely have those days.
Yes. But how about, I'd love to you share with us those moments when you say, this is why I do it. Can you bring any to mind where you just kind of look at someone or somebody's journey and you say, I was a part of that. This is why I do that.
Yeah, definitely. There was a girl that came through my former property that I was running, and she overdosed in the bathroom. They had to bust down the door, administer Narcan. She was immediately, she was discharged before she hit the floor because obviously she'd brought in drugs onto the property. So she went to the hospital and she overdosed 2 more times in the hospital, if you can imagine that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, girls brought her
Wow.
drugs. It was a really bad scenario, but I kept going to the hospital and sitting with her and talking with her. And she managed to get sober after that. And she thanks me so much for that support, because she said when she absolutely gave up on herself, that she saw somebody else that didn't give up on her. And I really didn't know that I had that much effect on her, but all of a sudden she pops up on Facebook and she's 1.5 years sober, and now I'm watching her son grow. And I'm getting chills from my ankles
Wow.
up, because this is another child, and it's always with me. I don't know, maybe because I didn't have my own children. When I see the women who come out of these rooms or coming through my sober house or whatever it is, and then they're raising families. I think about a young girl that I went to the state-run facility, CARP, and I brought a meeting in when she was 17 years old, and I know I had a profound effect on her. She's told me about it, and I watch her. Now she's married, now she's a clinician, and she's helping other people in a dynamic way, and she's raising 2 children, and I watch these families grow up. And it's either I'm watching them grow that way, or I'm in touch with their parents, still consoling their parents over the loss of their child a couple of years ago. So to watch these families grow is the most amazing thing for me. And that's what really warms my heart and keeps me going on the bad days.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
That's
thanks.
incredible.
Thanks.
And I appreciate Karen and I, like I said, we've been working with you, and you even helped us at the beginning of some of the things that we were trying to do, and you helped us out a lot. So we've always had a soft place in our heart for you,
Thank you.
and want to support everything you do. Now you're out here, and you finally got a chance to make it to the EAP conference. Did you have a good time, or were you able to make some good connections here, or
Oh,
figure out
yeah.
some new things?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a bunch of meetings lined up, and people coming out to see the Property Choices sober houses in West Palm. We're gonna, be a great great resource for other people. And I'm really hoping to expand and get some more staff working with us. And we have deemed ourselves the new standard in sober living. And you had opened up about the people who just open up a sober house after being a few years sober, and they have good intentions. Especially at a couple
Sure.
years sober, we still get that energy and that passion, and we're so close to it. And I think those people are really able to help people, but they get a little overloaded with maybe trying to manage their own recovery. And running a sober house, you really have to have your legs under you. I'm glad to have a partner that's a clinician. It really helps me out day to day, but you really have to have your legs planted, because they're trying to get away with things. I mean, they're doing what addicts do, and you can't take it personal. And I imagine some of the operators, maybe they've invested in properties or they're renting properties, and they're also trying to run a business model, and until you have some years of experience to draw on, those are all hard things to balance. I think maybe some of them go in with good intentions, but it just gets away with them from them. And one of the biggest problems is, Scott, is that the standard in sober living is open your doors, give them a safe place to be, tell them to go work a program, tell them that they have to manage their medication. That's the typical model of level 2 sober living. And it's not a bad thing, but I just think it needs more, and that's what we're providing. But the EAP conference has been phenomenal. I spoke with some hospitals up here that I otherwise, probably wouldn't have walked in, and we could be a great resource for them. And with the way that we manage the medications, we could deal with some of the higher psych than most halfway houses are able to take or able to maintain. So, I was really happy to make those connections. I think this conference was really important for us, and it wasn't overly expensive. And to get to hang out with you and Karen's always a good thing. And I was thinking about it too, as you guys were doing the training here for the event interventionist. What is the official title of that?
Certified event interventionist.
Certified event interventionist. I have used those skills many times to be able to de-escalate situations, and using things like the mirroring and the different processes that you learn from you and Karen when you take that course. I think it was really valuable, not only for me who runs a house or somebody who's in a treatment center, but just for anyone who's trying to affect somebody else's recovery. If you're in the rooms of AA or NA or any AA, I can't say the A. This course is invaluable. It really helps. But a funny thing happened when I was, because I always do different modalities of therapy, and I was actually getting some brain spotting down in West Palm, and I had the clinician. Well, no, it wasn't the brain spotter; it was somebody else. But they leaned into, and were mirroring some of the movements that I was making during my session. I got a little aggravated. She was using my own foo on me. So, but these are universal tactics, and
Yes.
and I think you need to know them. I think it's a great asset, and I love what you guys are doing.
Well, Debbie, we love you too. We're really excited about your venture, the Choice of Sober Houses. We've been there. We love it. We're always there to help you out, and it's coming together at events like this, where and a good way to stay on track and stay on path is not to just operate on your own island, but to network with others, to work together with other, whether it's other similar agencies or something new. But the more people you work with and the more networks you build, the more likely you are to stay out of trouble and do things the right way. Because you have
Absolutely.
that kind of support.
And I want the other sober houses to come out and get this information. I'm not
Yes.
trying to hide what I'm doing. I don't know what my mark on the world will be, but perhaps I can help people to operate their homes in a better way, so more women can give birth to sober babies, and we can watch their children, be raised. These are children that otherwise would not be born. And, maybe my mark on the world will be something a little silent and in the background.
Well, I'm not sure what your whole mark on the world is going to be, but I know you left a mark with myself and Karen
Thank you.
and ATC, and it's always going to be there. You're wonderful.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Debbie. It's good to see you.
Appreciate it.